There is a question from Kang. His strategy is very sensitive to the cost. Is it possible to remove the rebalance penalty? Well, no, that's not possible to remove the rebalance penalty. Basically, the rebalance penalty, just to come back to this, is a penalty that we that your strategy incurs every time there is a rebalancing, and the reason is to have some sort of a costly to have a cost, basically, if your behavior is to rebalance very frequently. The requirements for this competition is to have a rebalancing of once to or twice a month, and as every rebalancing is linearly penalized, your incentive is to rebalance less rather than more often. And it also means that you need to be more confident of your rebalancing. You want to rebalance when you know there is a financial return on this rebalancing, rather than trying to rebalance very often without a lot of marginal improvement in your returns. I think we're not obliged to rebalance in real life trading. Well, yes, you are obliged to rebalance. So basically, what happens when you manage a portfolio is that you decide at a certain date to, let's take the case of the competition, to buy 25% of the first asset, 25% of the second asset, and 50% of the third asset. Now, these proportions, 25, 25, 50, are relative weight of your portfolio. So it means that it's the value of each asset in dollar terms divided by the total value of your portfolio. Obviously, as prices move, your weight within your portfolio are going to move as well. They're going to drift away from what you thought was your initial, what was your initial exposure, which was 25, 25, 50. After a few days, a few weeks, these proportions can dramatically change. So if you want to keep this proportion, for example, if you're in a static type of portfolio where you want to keep always 25, 25, 50, then at some point you will have to rebalance. You will have to bring back your weights for each asset to these 25, 25, 50. And implicitly that means that if your asset has a gain in price relatively to your portfolio, then you will have to sell a bit of this asset. And conversely, if the asset weight in the portfolio has drifted down, you will have to buy a bit more of this asset in order to maintain that weight constant. So each time you do this buying and selling, this is a rebalancing. This is when you go to the market and you have to pay basically the price to get more assets or to sell some assets. Hopefully that's clear enough. This is very intentional to have a rebalance penalty so that you are incentivized not to rebalance too often. Now, that being said, every participant and every strategies are incurring the same rebalancing costs. So one way you can try and not be impacted as much by the cost is to try and rebalance less than other participants, basically, in order to have to incur less costs than they do. Will we put the replay of the webinar? We will put something, a video about this webinar, Charles. Yeah. Reason being that I could not record the webinar myself on my machine because we were having some technical issues. But we would definitely put a video to explain and to go through the same steps for you guys, and we will post that in the wiki where all the videos are. I'm not too sure if you've seen the other videos, but all the replays are available. If you just type in, sorry, that's the wrong view, webinar, you will see video tutorials. That all the videos are these are tutorials. Sorry, if I just do a different search, you will find back all the replays of all the webinars we have run for this asset allocation alpha. Yeah. So here you'll find it back. Obviously, there is also a YouTube replay that is available. We'll put everything down there. Back to Kiang on diversification. The rebalance penalty is pretty high, you're right. However, it's also applied to everyone. So if it's high for your payout, it's high for everyone. So it's a challenge for everyone, basically. That means that at the end of the day, you just need to be relatively better than others in terms of your metrics. When you say I'm very sensitive to the cost, basically all payouts across all participants are very sensitive to the costs. So it's about how to make sure to reduce the number of rebalancings. So switch to another asset and Sharp lowered to 0.5. It depends on the structure of your payout, I suppose. Please remember that your payout, so when you're doing your allocations in your portfolio object, every line in your payout represents a rebalancing. So if that line is not useful, you should get rid of it. And one of the way to make sure that you don't overpay, so you don't rebalance when there is no point in doing so, is to use, let me go back to where we've built the portfolio. Here, yeah, min rebal frequency, which is going to make sure that you don't have any unnecessary rebalancings in your portfolio payout. That's one way you can try to get a better Sharp and not pay too much. Let us know if that runs on your side, this piping, Kyung. Try to put that in your payout.
I would also
add
that
that eventually, even if you add
an asset with
a positive return,
this asset
might also have
a very high standard deviation.
So you might want to compare the the actual Sharpe ratio of the asset you're adding and not only the return.
Is there any other questions?
Hello, Alphien.
Yeah.
You hear me? For me,
Yes,
that
I do.
I tried to remove to do the minimum rebalancing. I don't change the weight. I don't put the weight that is the same or similar. But still, when I switch it from one asset to another asset, even though from the return I don't see the return. It's like the first asset return is 0, and I switched to another asset, and which is not that volatile, and still I find the Sharpe is changing a lot.
Okay, so yes, Kian, there is a link on the leaderboard where you can see how the metrics are computed, and we are giving you the breakdown of how each cost is basically impacting your performance. So maybe that would help you to assess why there is such a drop in your payout and your portfolio when you're trying to do some more rebalancings. What I suggest is that you follow up with us one-to-one on chat or to any member of our team, and we'll try to see how we can make your payout robust to these costs. Sorry again for all these technical issues today. It was a bit everything against us, but hopefully the content was good enough and that you enjoyed it. And if you have more questions, don't hesitate to chat back to us on Alpha Chat and to post questions on the forum. Thanks again, and have a good day. Best of luck for the end of the competition.